Aaron Pico came out. He had some advice. He was talking to upcoming fighters and he was saying, "Hey, don't be in a rush to hurry your career. Not everyone is going to be Jon Jones, meaning can just walk in and play and is a natural." And I was thinking about what he said because he's completely right. I know that I agree with him, but that's a really tough balance. I really don't know if there's anything that can be done in an MMA career that isn't hindsight, where you look back, like take Pico, for example. I don't believe that anybody has ever come into the sport with higher expectations than what Aaron Pico walked into. And he was like 19 years old. He'd never done the sport, but he'd done close. He'd wrestled his whole life, and then it turned out he had boxed, and then it turned out he'd even gone to Europe like as a kid and done pancration. So it was really, really close. But it wasn't the sport. He debuts in Bellator on a main card of a pay-per-view in Madison Square Garden. There was just a lot put on him. There's a lot in what I just said right there. And it did not go well. He was guillotined. I was on that card. I remember he ended up getting caught in a guillotine. He was a big favorite. So I think that's what he's speaking to. And then when he came back, he ran it. He was dominating a fight at one point. Then he gets kneed. I mean, I remember, again, we're back at Madison Square Garden. Aaron's winning a fight like 7.5 minutes in. It takes a flying knee and gets knocked out. So he just ran into a couple of these bumps, particularly for a guy that not only came in with so many expectations, they still exist. I'm still extremely bullish on the Aaron Pico will be champion bandwagon. Just works too hard. It's one of those things. He just works too hard and is too passionate about it. It's just one of these things that are commonalities and uniquenesses that champions have. He just happens to have these qualities. But when I do look back, I don't know that he's right. In all fairness, the match where because I think he's personalizing, right? It's all you can ever do. You go through something, you try to give people advice based on the knowledge and experiences that you had and what you learned from that journey. But if I look back at his career, I don't know that he was rushed. I mean, look, MSG, pay-per-view, major organization like Bellator, 19 years old, hard recipe, but he wasn't jumping in there with opponents that a guy who was an Olympic alternate 10 months prior to the story I'm telling you wasn't appropriate for. He just got caught in a guillotine. He just didn't know the move. Even if you fast forward to the second story I told you, he was dominating the fight. So we understand that these were good matchups for where he was at, but he got hit with a flying knee. I don't know that Aaron Pico specifically should second guess his own decision-making or his own career. This wasn't a matter of, okay, we're throwing in you're going in there with Pitbull tonight. By the way, you have no fights and he's the champion. Or you're going in there with Joe Warren tonight, or you're going in there with AJ McKee. That's not what happened. I thought that Pico was very well coached, very well promoted, and very well managed. I bring that to you because I think he's being hard on himself. I don't think that there's anything within his career that he shouldn't look back and do again. Maybe get out of the way of that knee, not get caught in a guillotine, but come on. That's the sport. It's one of those things. It's really tough. I mean, Aaron just got me thinking because this is like the day-old question, and it's a day-old topic, but it's never going to go away. And it's one of these topics that's never going to go away because there is no answer. It's one of these issues that there's no solution. It's all hindsight. Okay, too hard, too fast. We fell in for the hype. You weren't ready. You got to get in the gym. You got to refine your skills. You got to work harder. All right, that's one story, but we don't know until it's done. It's the same thing with an athlete coming out of retirement. He never should have done it. His best days are behind him. He looked terrible. Okay, but we don't know until it's done. It's one of those things, and there gets to be a fine line between the integrity of the sport and the balance of your career. If you're trying to only find matches that you're going to win, which, by the way, Pico did not do. I'm now taking Pico's thought and moving on from Aaron specifically. But if you try to take matches that are only favorable to you, well, now you got bully syndrome. That turns into bully syndrome really fast, right? A bully only picks on people, only fights people that he knows he can beat. Your career is going to be headed nowhere doing that. Now, boxing has a different model. If you can get a big, beautiful record, 20-0 next to your name, they'll put you in a world title fight. They pursue that, but in MMA, it's not that way. It's not unacceptable to lose in MMA. It's not acceptable to try again. It's favored. It's revered. It's what the sport is. So it's one of those hard balances. Taking what Pico said about don't rush it on one hand, but the other hand is you've got a window. Rush everything. Rush everything. Rush to get a license. Rush to get into the big organizations. Rush to get into the main card. Rush to get a pay-per-view. Rush to a title fight. I mean, there's that side of it too. And when it works out, you look back and go, yeah, that's what this sport is. If it doesn't work out, you come away with a different opinion. I don't think that Aaron should have that opinion. Aaron's had some great moments. He had some learning moments in front of the world. So what? I don't know that we could look back and see anywhere he was miscoached, mistrained, or mismanaged. I think he did a really good job in a really hard sport that you win some and you lose some.